Hello, hello. How's that sound? Hello, hello, all. Can you hear me? Trying out this mic connected to my computer today. Ooh, that sounds good. I'm testing it out on my phone. Let me get this copied to Twitter. Hello, hello, anybody who might be here. Let's talk about the Apple event. What do you think? Was it what you expected? Are you disappointed? How do you feel about it? All right, let's try this.
No, I had 30 to 40%. That's not bad, man. Another thing that was said was going to happen at this event was AirPods free. That didn't come. So we keep seeing the pictures of them, but they're not announcing them. I don't know why, but they're not coming.
I don't know they're not coming. They might, like I said, I think there's going to be another event next month. So some of the things that we didn't get in today's event will probably come at next month's event.
Potentially. Yeah, potentially. It'd be nice to see what comes at the next event. I thought the new iPad mini was quite nice. That was unexpected. So we got stuff we did. Yeah.
I will have the iPad mini at some point. I don't know what I'm going to give, but I'm definitely going to be one.
Do the review, man. We need the review from life.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to try to get my hands on one of those. I want that iPad mini. That thing was good.
I'm buzzing right now to know what Flossy Carr is thinking about this event. I know that man would be disappointed.
You know what? Listen, man. I love Flossy Carr. Flossy Carr knows I love Flossy Carr. Listen, he gonna crap on the iPhone like he always does. But when you go to his Instagram, he gonna be taking a picture with his iPhone, getting engaged. So you gotta watch Flossy Carr. You gotta watch that man because he'll talk crap in one hand, but Instagram with an iPhone in the other hand. You gotta watch Flossy. You gotta watch him closely. But yeah. We are reacting to the Apple event. So anybody want to come up and share their thoughts about what was announced today? Let me know and I will bring you up here. Sarah, did you see anything today besides the iPhone that you think about purchasing?
You know what? I'm going to hold off because I really like my iPhone 12 Pro Max and I have the 11 Pro Max as a backup phone. I've got two for my work numbers. I'm going to hold off. One thing I'm waiting for is Humane. I know it's a different product. It's going to be like an iPhone-like product without the screen that is being developed by former Apple heavy hitters. I am waiting for that to come out. I know, completely different topic, completely different world. I will wrap on that, but I'm just going to wait. But I do like the pink, and I like that they're recycled.
So Humane, is that a phone? Or what is that exactly?
Yo. Yeah, so I did just decide to start my own because there are like 50 million people in there and they're all trying to talk at once. And it's not really a discussion. It's kind of just, Apple party. So it's not as much fun. You have to request to talk first. It just says you're a listener. Okay, there we go. I fixed it. Don't worry. I got you covered. Oh, hey, it worked. Yeah, it's just a mobile thing so far, I think. Like they haven't announced it for like desktop yet. But the other thing is, does your mic work on both Twitch and Twitter then? Or just one? Yeah, mine only works on one or the other. Nice. What's up, Sonny? And Finn's here too. So bye, Sonny. So I already heard a lot of your thoughts because you're already live. But I don't know, like, yeah. Yeah, that's not really
I'll get one because I just want to upgrade them.
Wait, sorry, say that last thing again. My thing glitched out for a second.
Oh, I just said so the ProMotion and what they were talking about with how it'll actually like adjust the frames per second as you're using it was pretty cool.
I mean, that is cool. Like, not to be that guy that's like everybody has it already, but like that's just standard 120 hertz. Like, that's not really anything special. Like that's just how it's made. You know what I mean? Which like it is cool. It is really cool technology. It's just not new technology. And like that's just how 120 hertz works. You know what I mean? So like I don't know. Like it's again, it's not that it's not cool. And I like it, but the fact that they're pitching it like they're like the first one that's thought of it, that's what really bothers me. Like usual.
I'll text you what I'd like, and I love you.
Okay, love you too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, sorry about that.
No, you're good.
What do you think about the whole thing?
I was saying like I love 120 hertz, and not to be like I really don't want to be the one that's saying like they like that's just how it works. That's just the technology. Like I've always hated people like that, and I don't want to be that. But at the same time, like the varying refresh rate is really cool, but it is honestly just how 120 hertz works. Like it's nothing like Apple did. It's nothing special about the like. It's just 120 hertz. Like that's how every other 120 hertz device works, including iPads. It's not forced 120 hertz all the time. That would just destroy battery life. So everything to a degree, now it might not be the full like 10 hertz to whatever. Like that's a pretty vast range of variability. But even like the OnePlus 7, Pixel 4, and the Galaxy S20, all from 2019, they all did at least, because standard is 60. So they at least varied between like 30 and 120, I believe. So like not that it's not cool. It is really cool. I'm glad to see it in an iPhone finally, because I love it on my iPad. It's really, really nice. But it's the thing that they're like, I don't know, like they take like, this is going to sound really insulting, I think, but like they take like the least knowledgeable group of people when it comes to technology, and they pitch them only what they need to know or what makes Apple look good. So therefore they think Apple did it. You know what I mean? Like it's just so like dishonest. That's what kills it for me. Like it's cool technology, like I said, and I'm glad it's there, but it just kills it for me because it just seems so dishonest. I don't know. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really had a chance to like look through everything that actually happened. So I feel like I missed a lot of it, but yeah, no, I know what you mean. Like they take things that they like ProMotion.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just 130 hertz.
Yeah, like it's just a high refresh rate panel.
And their new cinematic mode is just autofocus.
Yeah. Now it is cool. Like there are aspects of Apple that I love, and that's the reason I have an iPhone and an iPad and everything, and I use them still. It's not the products that's bad. Kind of like we were saying during the thing. Like it's not the product itself that I have a problem with. It is a really good phone, and it covers so many bases that it a lot of times is the best phone just for a regular consumer. But it's the fact that then like or like the autofocus thing, like the fact that you can change autofocus in post production is awesome, really really cool, and that legitimately is never something that's been a thing before. So that is really cool. But would you go out and would you buy a Galaxy because it did like 30x zoom instead of 3x and it lets you autofocus? No, like you probably wouldn't switch ecosystems for that. Like you would not, but you wouldn't be like, that's a great new feature, I'm going to buy a phone because of that. But because now this may be a flawed argument, let me know what you think, but like, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me that if you can't use the argument one way, you can use it the other way. You know what I mean? Like like I said, like it is really cool, but it's nothing groundbreaking. Like it's something really that could have been the case this whole time, and they just didn't. Like half of this stuff is just software updates that they're only allowing on the iPhone 13. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's underwhelming for sure. I come to these events every year hopeful, and
yeah.
So I'm trying to think of everything that I was hoping we were gonna get that we didn't get, and so I was looking down Marquise Brownlee's thing, and so I think people were hoping for Always On, which we didn't get, which is shocking because it's in the it's in the watch, it's in the Apple, and it's in the new Apple Watch. Well, I guess it's in my Apple Watch too. So it's it's been in the Apple Watch.
Yeah, it's in Series 6.
So we didn't get an Always On, we didn't get astrophotography, didn't get USB-C. Which
USB-C that will never come, in my opinion.
Yeah, but it just seems so practical to do USB-C since everything is sort of moving that way.
Yeah.
But they just have to keep it with the stupid Lightning, which is dumb.
Yeah. That makes sense to me too. And the fact that like, so this is actually kind of one of those things like I was saying about like you can't use both sides of the coin. You have to pick one. Yeah. Like USB-C, I would, if iPhone had a USB-C, I would be getting the new one. Like I would, even though I have a 12 Pro Max right now, I would still get the new one because I want everything to have one cord, and that would be awesome. But like they like during the iPad mini announcement, they were like patting themselves on the back for like up to 10x data transfer speeds and charging speeds. And this is such a great thing for the customer. And it showed like the iPad mini connected to a DSLR through USB-C. So they used it as a pitch in the iPad mini as a benefit for the customer. And then they just glossed over it and didn't even mention it with the iPhone because it's not what they wanted to do. You know what I mean? Like you can't play both sides. But like no one's going to notice because it's Apple and everyone has a lightning cord already. So I don't know. It just bothers me a lot.
Yeah, we've talked about things in the past where they do things that are like intentionally Apple, just to be Apple. And I mean that's definitely a huge point that I agree. Is that I mean the notch easily could be gone. There's no reason for it to be around.
Yeah.
They could have easily done USB-C. They didn't integrate like people were talking about them integrating features for like, we're still in the pandemic, so a lot of people are still having to wear masks. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people thought that they might integrate like a thumbprint or like that they would at least integrate a way for Face ID to work around that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of really simple things I think that they just didn't do. And I'm not stuck, but I'm just like, it's just annoying. Yeah.
Like why hold back when you could do like not even be the best of the best anymore, because they are still like I said, like even compared to Samsung, like their high volume of high end phones compared to Samsung is vastly different. And like on this level, I consider Pixel, like I like Pixel, but I consider it more of an enthusiast phone, even though it is like in the mainstream at Verizon and stuff. So I don't really consider them like a competitor necessarily because they sell so. It's just such a different number of phones, but like, I don't know, like even for like always on display, the only technology that's really required for an always on display is an OLED, like to be able to light up by individual pixel instead of lighting up the entire thing through a backlight, like an LED. And the last iPhone to use an LCD screen is the iPhone 11. So actually, the iPhone 11 Pro, 11 Pro Max, 12 Mini, 12 Pro Max, 12 Pro all have OLED screens, and all really could get always on display. They just choose not to. Like, there's literally nothing holding them back at all. It even has the hardware in place, and they just don't do it.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think that's what is annoying is that, you know, these things that they didn't put in that would be so easy. I don't feel like I'm asking a lot, because I mean, if it was asking a lot from like me or a small tech company, like sure, you know, it might be, but it's Apple. Like,
Yeah.
You know, they have billions and billions or trillions of dollars.
Yeah, like they're the leader in tech.
Yeah, like they have a market cap of like $1 trillion.
Yeah.
So many of these, and the thing that is already annoying me is that I'm already seeing like this. So I think there's this narrative from Apple fans, which I know I'm an Apple fan, so I'm not like criticizing.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think I'm not in that group. But there's this narrative after every new iPhone that comes out on Twitter. I see people say, like, it's mostly from the people who have the previous gen. So like this is coming from like iPhone 12 Pro users,
Mm-hmm.
and they're saying like, oh, I'll just wait for the iPhone 14 because I'm already hearing it's going to be like revolutionary.
Yeah.
But people say
Every
the
single
same
year.
thing about the 13.
Yeah. I mean, there were already iPhone 14 quote leaks, like you were talking about leak culture.
Yeah.
As of like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, and like
Yeah.
it's just like this, and all of this would fall under marketing for Apple. Like they do it on purpose, you know what I mean? So it's like it's just this like very unique situation that has never really happened before. I can't think of another time where somebody was so, like, a company was so keyed in to their customer base and had such a loyal customer base, and also not misrepresents information, but like specifically like Swiss cheese presents information. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just to keep them as a customer. I don't know. But yeah, like as far as the like them being like a multi-trillion-dollar company, like they were going to buy Disney in 2018. They like were considering it. Like that's ridiculous to me. They had enough spare change profit in 2018 to buy Disney, which includes Marvel, that includes Star Wars, that includes the entire legacy of everything. And they were so big. That's crazy. So not only are they they definitely have the capability because of the money, but they also are like, I mean, I'm like in this area anyway, I'm really passionate about like education and people understanding what they have and being able to learn and become better people from technology, because I think that's what makes it that's how it best serves us. So like it really, really bothers me that like Apple doesn't educate. They educate in Apple. Like you can be the smartest person ever with Apple devices and never touch another device outside, and it's the walled garden thing. Like they're the leading company in tech in the world. What they do, everyone else will copy. And instead of using that to their advantage to be like imagine if iMessage was ported to, like, if they made an Android app, iMessage would instantly overnight become the equivalent of texting. Like you wouldn't have to worry about any of this like RCS protocol and trying to get like carriers to update. Like it would instantly become the equivalent of texting overnight. But they choose not to because of branding. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just so disappointing.
Well, that's what I want people to understand is that, like, when I was really young, the first thing I ever bought myself was the very first iPod Touch.
Mm-hmm.
I saved up money for it, and so that was just such a fun memory. It was such a fun device. I loved Steve Jobs, or at least, you know, like, I respected his like drive and everything. Yeah. And you know, I'm not just like shitting on Apple to shit on Apple, but like they used to be like the leader in innovation, leader in everything. Like they were introducing things that we didn't even know we wanted, and then we'd want it, like an iPad. Like what the frick is an iPad? Like, this is dumb.
Yeah, like they pioneered it.
Yeah, they pioneered it, and then everyone else. So I mean, you know, I'm a I'm a software engineering student in my first year, and I have a very basic understanding of like code and how things work. Apple has so many like senior engineers who could wrap circles around even like companies engineers. Like these people are so smart.
Yeah.
And it just feels like we're getting these like slow drips of handouts where they could make a phone that would just blow everything away. And I don't know for the like. I mean, I understand because they just want to keep making phones. And I think they're in the business of making phones, not really in the business of innovating anymore.
Yeah.
And so that's what annoys me more than anything.
Yeah. I mean, some people even I've heard, I think Marquez actually has said this before, that Apple is a marketing company that happens to sell phones. And well, he may not have said that. He said something along those lines, but I just remember thinking that I had never thought of it that way. Is it like, well, yeah, I guess like the phone itself is good, but that's not really what they're presenting during a situation or like this kind of thing. They're marketing themselves in a specific way. And if you notice how like everything was scripted, everything was branded a certain way, like the way the number of times they said like on iPad, or like obviously they're using the term, but like the way they do it, maybe this is just coming from me because like I've gone through like script writing and, you know, branding yourself as an actor and like that kind of thing, like being able to dictate who you are to somebody else. So that may be why I'm noticing this, but just the way they use language that like reflects them, I guess, if that makes sense. Like that makes them look good to themselves. I don't know.
Yeah,
it just,
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard to describe, but that's marketing. Like it's all marketing. So like if Apple didn't come out and tell you like the iPad mini is incredible, it's more powerful than any other iPad we have ever seen. In fact, much more powerful than any iPad in the world. And then people like go crazy. You know what I mean? Like if they didn't say that, it wouldn't sell the same. So more so, even though they do make really, really good devices, which is the tough line to ride, because I'm not saying their devices are bad. Like we keep saying, I like their devices, but they're selling you on the idea of the product, not the actual product. You know what I mean? It's so psychological. Like it's brilliant. It's incredible, but it's also very annoying.
Yeah. I don't even know what to do at this point because
Yeah. You're going to buy that Apple Watch Series 7?
Probably not.
Come on, man. Why? It's got a fingerprint scanner on the button. I wish it did. No, it doesn't. I wish it did. See, that's where I want actually. Have you seen the in-display fingerprint scanners on like Samsung phones?
Yeah.
That's what I want to see on a smartwatch, because you have to have like the passcode on it in order to like pay or to keep your stuff secure. If they had like a fingerprint scanner on the watch, that would be incredible. That would be innovating.
And they could do it so easily.
Yeah, they could have done it this time.
So easily.
Could have done it, man.
But it's brighter.
Hey, it is brighter. And it comes in green.
So let me see. I pulled up the you know how in their events at the very end of presenting something, it's basically a map of everything in little like bubbles of what it's done.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to look to even see what they said. So the new iPhone or the new Apple Watch 7 is has like new dust resistance, most durable Apple Watch ever. Let's see. Fast charging, respiratory rate during sleep. So that's interesting.
So sleep tracking.
Yeah, sleep tracking. Full detection during workouts. New watch faces, fully optimized UI, which doesn't really mean anything. ECG and blood oxygen apps. Did the
That's
previous
all.
iteration have blood oxygen?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's not new. Okay.
No.
And then larger always-on retina display. So.
Yeah. I mean, the sleep tracking is really cool. We'll see how detailed it is, because sometimes it just says like you were asleep from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. Like, cool. I knew that I was asleep. But like if it tracks like your REM cycles and like when you woke up or when you were sleeping lightly, like I was saying this morning, like I'm having all these super vivid dreams lately, and I don't like it. But the nice thing is I can wear my watch to sleep, and I can see if I've been like, if I wake up at night and don't remember, or I can try and like, you know, try and go to bed at a better time. Like it just kind of makes me more informed. So if it does that, it'd be really cool. But again, you know, not to be that guy again, but the Galaxy Watch has had that for like 6 years now, I think. So like, it's again, like it's cool, it's good, but it's not really innovation.
One thing that really annoys me, and this is a really random small thing, so when it comes to like the edges of the like the iPhone, the Apple Watch, the iPad, you know, everything that's similarly rectangular.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that there isn't consistency amongst all of them with like the edges, because I like the iPhone iPhone 13 now kind of has those blocked off side edges, which is cool. And I think it was first introduced in which iPhone was it?
It would have been like the 4.
Yeah. So I think it was the 5, something like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so now they have so now they're bringing that back, which looks cool. I think it's on the iPads too, but the watches are rounded still.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why not just have the same kind of thing? I don't know. It's a small thing, but it annoys me.
Yeah, like for somebody who's so intent on every detail, it seems like something small that they just either missed or decided not to. But actually, that brings up a really interesting point, because a couple of the 3, I don't know if it's the top 3 Apple leakers, but 3 very, very well-known ones. John Prosser, you probably heard his name before, at least once or twice. Like really like renowned like Apple leak guy for years. Him and then at least one other person from Germany both had this leak that the Apple Watch was going to actually have those square edges. And then the Galaxy Watch came out with it too. And typically that's how it happens. There's a leak, and then Galaxy watches the leak, or just at least somehow like they're kind of feeding off each other. And then it didn't happen. And they're actually like, they were like tweeting saying like, wait, what's happening? This is not what we found. So either they accidentally leaked the Apple Watch 8 or whatever is next, or they just changed their mind. I'm not sure. But did you see any of those, like the square edge leaks?
Yeah, I did. And I was convinced that's what we were going to get. And I thought it looked pretty clean. And so I was actually pretty excited. But now that I'm seeing the like squared off edges on the iPhone and the iPad, it just looks weird on the iWatch or on the Apple Watch. It just looks kind of ugly, out of place. Yeah.
Well, I kind of liked where they were going at first, actually. Well, I guess maybe they didn't do this, but it's just because it's how it ends up working, is that if somebody wants to buy like at work, if someone's going to buy like a kid's phone, or they don't want like the biggest and the best, if they just kind of want like the casual, like standard iPhone, it's usually the iPhone 11 because it's cheaper and it's pretty much the same as the 12 anyway, but it has rounded edges. So I thought they were kind of going towards like the squared off edges being premium and the round edges being more casual, which kind of would have been cool. And it would have made it a little more fun because you can kind of mix match and you can kind of do what you want. But I guess that's not what they're doing.
I am happy that they're releasing them all at the same time.
That is true.
One thing I thought was weird this time, and I can't remember, I'm almost certain I have this right in my head, but I thought it was weird how they introduced the iPhone. Oh, this makes sense. I thought it was weird how they introduced the iPhone and then just kind of like tossed the Mini in there. Yeah. And then they introduced the Pro, and they just sort of tossed the Pro Max in there.
Yeah.
Like I swear, I thought it, like when we saw the Pro, the iPhone 13 Pro, and it was like, here's what's on it, I was like, oh, cool. But then like one of the, I don't know what position they hold, but like one of the girls was like, yeah, and this will be on iPhone 13 Pro and Pro Max. And I was like, oh, they're kind of blowing them together this year, which is weird.
Yeah.
Like I was expecting like Pro Max to have its own thing, and for them to be like astrophotography, like this, here's the Pro, here's the biggest. But they just kind of like, I don't know, it just almost seems like it's just a bigger Pro.
Yeah, like it was an afterthought.
Yeah.
I kind of expected that too, actually, because astrophotography I kind of forgot about. But I did expect the Pro Max to have at least something. usually it's like a larger zoom or something like that.
Yeah.
There was talk of possibly a periscope lens. Are you familiar with what that is? Like, do you know that term?
I'm pretty sure, yes. Someone was talking to me about one of those the other day, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it's Samsung's the one that uses it now, but it's super cool idea, like tiny mirrors and stuff. But so that would have been awesome if it was like and Pro Max with 30x zoom, not 3x zoom. That would have been cool. That would have been really cool. But I guess they decided not to do it this time.
Yeah, I'm trying to even think of. It was weird because, obviously they want to incentivize people to buy the best and the best and the best.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't even know that besides the battery and maybe the fact that it's brighter, I don't know the difference between the iPhone 13. I'm trying to look on Twitter, Pro versus Pro Max.
I think they're the same, honestly. Because the 12 and the 12 Pro Max are essentially the same. There's a very, very small difference. I can't even remember what it is, honestly. I believe, hang on, I'm looking at the back of mine. I think it has not the laser autofocus, but like it's red. I can't remember what it's called. It has like slightly different as far as video shooting goes. But that's it. Like, it doesn't actually affect like quality or anything like that. It's just like the way it focuses. There's like a laser or something in there that helps it out.
Yeah, I'm looking at the breakdown of the 13 and 13 Pro. So they are priced differently. Obviously the Pro Max weighs more. It's got a 6.7 inch display as opposed to 6.1.
Yeah, the 6. Yeah.
Screen. So it has a slightly larger screen resolution. So it has more. Oh, wait. I think it has less pixels per square inch.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah. So the Pro has 460 ppi. The Pro Max has 458 ppi.
Oh, so like barely.
Yeah, barely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Super Retina.
That's interesting though that it has the same pixels per square inch on a larger display though.
Yeah, definitely.
It's interesting that they did that.
So basically, battery for the Pro says up to 22 hours. Pro Max is up to 28 hours. Storage is the same. Cameras are the exact same aperture and everything. The CPU is the same. GPU is the same.
Yeah.
Wow. They didn't even introduce Wi-Fi 6, did they?
No.
Wow.
Which is okay. Like that's kind of an innovation, sort of like 5G. Like if they had kept out 5G at this point, that would have been bad. But at this point, Wi-Fi 6 is still so far in the future. Like as far as like reaping benefits from Wi-Fi 6, I think it's okay. That's not something I'm super upset about. So quick question on that though, and I think Mr. Techie, he's in here too. So let me know if you have anything to say about this actually. Because we were talking about it on Twitter, and I was saying the 1 terabyte was leaked. And I was saying who on earth would use a terabyte of storage in a phone? Like I shoot video on my phone. Like you were kind of saying, who has videos on their phone? Who shoots videos like this? And I actually do shoot a lot of videos on my phone, like the lightning and the storms that I was able to catch a couple of weeks ago. And I have never used more than a third of my 128 gigs. So again, it's not my main device. My everyday carry is still my Pixel, but I have my iPhone on me all the time, and I usually shoot video with it. Like if I'm going to shoot video, I usually go for that one. And then Mr. Techie, he's the one on Twitter. He was saying he carries a lot more video than I expected. So I don't know if either one of you guys, if you have any thoughts on that.
So,
hey guys, go ahead. My bad. I was going to chime in. Go ahead.
Go for it.
No, I was going to say real quick is that I use my phones, whatever phone it is, basically for everything. So not only is it, of course, I run my YouTube channel and record my video for photography on the phone. My entire music library is on there. I store everything locally. I showed him a screenshot of my storage. 700
It's crazy.
PDFs and stuff. It's like everything, yeah. So my 512 right now is like almost 400 gigabytes full.
Yeah.
So 1 terabyte definitely for me, absolutely. Just wanted to say that, but yeah.
Yeah. And I forgot you had said all your music library too. It still throws me off, especially coming from Pixel. Like Google does not do the same thing as far as like with Apple Music, you can either buy the album if you like, similar to iTunes, or you can just use Apple Music. YouTube Music is all just, I mean, it's just YouTube, you know. So there's that too. That's a little bit different. But I forgot he had all of his music library on there. But like, how much storage do you usually use, Tyler?
So literally, I have a 64 gigabyte iPhone, and people laugh. I mean, basically the reason I do it is just for price, and people laugh at me for it. But I've had the 11 Pro Max. I ordered it, I think, the day it came out. So I ended up getting it maybe in like October or November or something like that of 28. I don't know, whenever it was. So
I think it was 2019.
I've had this phone for 2 years basically, and I've used 57.4 gigabytes out of 64 gigabytes used. So whenever I wipe this phone and sell it, I never hit the max once.
Yeah.
But again, I think the biggest thing would be videos, because I genuinely just don't take videos in my personal life.
Now, if you like, imagine if you, I don't know, like if you, well, the thing that kills it, I guess, for a lot of people, and especially working in this industry, like at AT&T, I see a lot of people that share a lot of TikToks that get saved because, you know, on iPhone, you can't go in and like just delete your folder from TikTok. You have to go in one by one and delete them, and people just never do. So they've got like 80 gigabytes of TikToks that they don't care about, but they can't sort through. So like I've seen that happen before. But if you were like more of a content creator, like, I mean, you saw the videos that they were shooting with iPhone. Like it is really impressive. What you can get from an iPhone quality standpoint. So imagine like if you didn't have the money to be able to invest in your streaming camera, like you were able to, or something like that, like to create that kind of content, even if you weren't able to stream from it, you could create much, much better content from just like mounting your iPhone on like a tripod than like shooting with your old like webcam. You know what I mean? So I think that's like that kind of person would need a lot of that storage, especially if they're doing like traveling shoots, or, you know, you're not connected to Wi-Fi every day to back it all up or all that stuff. So I can see that though.
It's $1,600.
Is it really?
Yeah, just look on the website.
I don't know what $1,600. Okay, so here's a further question. If you're gonna drop $1,600 cash, you're gonna go to your bank and you're gonna take out $1,600 and you're gonna spend it on one phone. Are you going to get either the 1 terabyte iPhone or the Galaxy Fold? Which would you feel less bad about spending that much money on?
Well, I mean, I guess just to throw another option in there. I mean, so I have a Fujifilm X-T4, which is like a pro-grade camera, you know, can do a lot of things. And I'm pretty sure the body was $1,600, and then I mean with the lens it ended up being about $2,000. But
wow,
I mean if you're a serious creator and you're like, I want a pro level, like I'm just telling people to buy a DSLR at that point. That's just me. Like you can buy a darn good DSLR for $1,600. Yeah,
you can buy a really nice DSLR for $1,600.
Really nice.
Like even like those Sony ones you were looking at too. Like even if you just go to Best Buy and you get whatever one is on the shelf, it's $1,000. I think, plus, and that includes the like the lens. So it's not as good as yours, but it's still really good.
Yeah, you could get a Sony Alpha 6400 or start at like a 6000 and drop like $1,000, and you're gonna get way better video quality than what's on an iPhone. Yeah,
and you still have that focus control too, because that's actually that's one of the biggest tells if somebody is a professional filmmaker or just kind of a hobbyist, is if you're using the flat kind of like smaller lenses from a phone, or if you're using a large lens that you can pull focus on. That's a huge indicator that somebody actually knows what they're doing, because it takes so much more. It's so much more intricate.
So here's a question that I'll pose to you, because I want to get your thoughts on this. I'm gonna hopefully I can frame this properly. I'll get anyone else's thoughts on this too. You know, Apple really seems to be driving like hardcore you said, like professional grade videographer stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just really curious, like, what percentage of their demographics are actually going to be taking and making use of these things? Like, do the vast majority of people that use iPhones, like, will they ever truly unlock? Because I understand for someone like the Mr. Tech, or for someone like you, like people who are really into, like you said, using these things as like your actual, YouTube camera or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, what percentage of people who actually like? I'm trying to just compare that to like a simple feature like astrophotography, or something where, like, to me, the vast majority of Apple users would use something like that.
Yeah.
Compared to like high fidelity, like HD, like all this like crazy stuff that I just don't know that the vast majority of users even care about. It sounds cool, but like, who's going to use it?
Yeah. Like.
If I can chime in, sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Real quickly, that so if some of you guys don't follow me, you know that I work in consumer electronics and I have for many years. And now I'm in the cellular industry. But anyway, something that I've seen is that a lot of people they have a hobby they want to pursue. For example, if it's filmmaking, if it's music video, if it's content creation, anything like that, right? And then they look at the cost of some of these equipment and how complicated they are. They're turned off, or like, oh, let me try this later on. Putting these things in phones that people are going to buy no matter what allows more people to get into those hobbies. So that's one thing I saw. So that goes back to your point. You're saying that who's actually going to use it? Some people don't use it today, but when they have it, it unlocks creativity, ideas, and things like that. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, that is a good point.
Well, I'm genuinely curious then. Like, what were your thoughts on the whole event, like as a whole? Like, what do you think?
Well, I mean, my bad, I'm eating right now. I'm sorry, guys. So overall, the event, it was a lot of surprises, and my biggest surprise really was not even something in the event, but the fact that for the first time, so many rumors were straight up wrong.
Yeah.
And we were surprised. Yeah. The things that we were sure about, even myself, stuff that I said was for sure happening, were not happening. Happened or didn't happen. That was my biggest surprise. But other than that, like product-wise, Series 7, the fact that there's nothing that made people want to upgrade from it, that was a complete disappointment. iPhone 13, it's an SU. Even though it's 13, it's a 12S.
Yeah.
You know? The biggest upgrade really was iPad mini 2. So that's it.
Yeah, honestly, that's kind of what I took too. Is the iPad Mini is what I was most excited about. It would have been seconded by the Apple Watch if it had those square edges.
But on a personal level, when I saw the renders of the flat edges on the Apple Watch, immediately I said that's not gonna look too good. It won't be comfortable. I'm kind of glad it didn't happen, but at the same time, it would have been a lot more exciting if it did happen.
Yeah.
But overall, I wasn't gonna be a fan of the flat sides, to be honest.
Yeah, I was looking at some of those as well, like as far as the renders for the Apple Watch, and I couldn't decide because my Apple Watch is pretty comfortable the way it is. It's still one of the best smartwatch designs that I've worn. So I've got my Galaxy Watch 2, and it's just, I don't know, like it's really good, but it's just not as fine tuned, and it's not as comfortable because somehow Apple was able to, with their attention to detail, what their bands are made out of, A, and B, how like where the hole placement is and like where the latch placement is, all that stuff somehow is different than other manufacturers who just kind of like slap a band on it and like call it a day. It's somehow I can wear my Apple Watch and like forget that I'm wearing it until I get a notification. And I've never had that experience from another Apple Watch. So I really like it. But again, I was a little bit concerned, like you were saying, about the square edges. I wasn't sure exactly how that was going to play out. But like I said, but also my Galaxy Watch has square edges anyway. And it's already bigger than the Apple Watch. So as long as it's more comfortable than that, then I'd be happy.
I did love the point you mentioned, like how I can really relate to this, that when it's on your wrist, sometimes it kind of blends in and you don't notice it until you get notification. Yeah. One thing I just want to comment on, and then I'll go back to you, is that I now seeing after the event's over and everything, I'm pretty certain that the flat edges was a fake, it's a controlled leak from Apple to see who would buy it and who wouldn't. Because everyone reported on it. It wasn't just like a render from some random artist. It was Sean Prosser, Gurman, Go, everyone. So I'm pretty certain that was just a controlled leak. That's it. No plans on it officially. But yeah.
And that's actually an interesting point too, because they took so much, such a stand against that one lady that was fired from Apple for leaking things. Like that's been a huge thing in the tech community the last couple of months. So interesting that they took such a stand on that, and then possibly shared their own leaks to try and get ahead of it. That's a very interesting. Like I was saying before, I can't remember if you were here, but it's all marketing. Like all of this is just marketing for Apple, and leaks at this point is I mean, even for the Pixel, like the Pixel 6 coming out, like it hasn't even released yet, and we already have seen like commercials for it. You know what I mean? It's all marketing. It's all controlled leaks. It's not really a leak. It's like a drip. I think that's what like Lou later said. He was talking about how they drip it instead of leak it because it's not an accident. It's on purpose.
Yeah. And all this is kind of evident what people talked about recently about Apple taking a much stronger stance on privacy and leaks, having a whole team to hunt them down. The people in China, the employees from China that got paperwork sent them, like legal paperwork about leaks, all of that. So it's not just about controlled leaks in the sense of what you're saying is like Apple's trying to get marketing and build hype to their product. That's one thing. But another way of controlled leaks is like let's go out fake information, see who buys it so we can surprise people at the events. You know?
Yeah.
If anything, I like that way more than accurate leaks.
Yeah. See, that at least has like some like an aspect of fun to it. Like they're trolling people on purpose, which is hilarious. I wish more companies did that.
Like how the event for April was 420 and it was 69 days before WWDC.
Yeah, exactly. Like stuff like that's fun. Like why? Like that's one reason I'm so into Google. Actually, kind of like moving because we just mentioned the Pixel 6 is because it's just fun. Like that. Like it's just more. It's not as like the Apple event, even though it's like it's more awe-inducing but it kind of feels sterile to me. Whereas opposed to like Samsung events, I was never really into, but I know the Google events just feel more colorful and fun. You know what I mean? And they do a lot of stuff like that too. Tesla does a lot of it too, like the Model S, Model 3, Model X, you know, that kind of thing. I wish companies were more open to you know, being a little bit silly instead of having to be like professional marketing all the time.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, and I agree. I was thinking of something else that I was going to say. I guess just like on the topic of leakers. So for like people who, you know, we live in 24-hour news cycles now with like everything, you know, news, politics, tech media, everything. And so people are constantly, in my opinion, like you have to pretty much make up stuff at some point because you have to like have stuff to talk about. And a lot of people like to, I don't want to say completely fabricate things, but you know, people want views, right? So,
yeah.
You know, like no matter who you are, if you're a tech influencer, quote unquote, and you know, you're saying that Apple's going to get all these features, and it's kind of like to me how the news reports things from quote sources when really it could be like just a person saying something, and they don't really verify sources or anything like that anymore.
Yeah.
I don't really know how this fits into the conversation, but I almost feel like the leaking and everything hurts Apple more than anything from the standpoint that, like, we get our hopes up. Like, we're told for months and months and months that, you know, confirmed iPhone's going to have astrophotography and the notch might be gone and, like, a fingerprint scanner and the lock button. And so, you know, it kind of builds it up to this, like, it's going to be great. And then what we get is never
never meets expectation.
Yeah, so
yeah,
I don't know. For me, that's kind of annoying because, like you said with the watch, I mean, based on everything I'd seen online, I mean, I was like 99% confident that thing was going to be squared off and it was going to have more features than it says it did. And so, I don't know. It almost to me seems like Apple sometimes, like, maybe wants to do something, but then leakers or someone will get ahead of them. And then they're like, well, we're not going to do that now. Or like you said, like someone else will release something similar, and they're like, well, now we don't want to do that. And I just think that's the dumbest thing.
Yeah, like they have to kind of like capital A Apple their way into it.
Yeah.
But that's actually like an interesting thing that happened during the Pixel 4 launch was because Google Google's always been like, for the first couple of years, have been really bad about leaks. Like they just don't care. Like they don't try to hide anything. Like because they've got to go through like the FCC, like approvals and all that stuff. So they don't try to hide it really. But then with the Pixel 4, they were like, "Hey, it's June. We know that you know about this. Here's a picture of it." And it was also the first time that more than one camera, like in the square, like a camera square versus just like the double camera setup, was going to be shown. It was that one, and Samsung kind of was doing their own design at that point, but Apple and Google were both, it looked very, very similar because they had the camera square on the left side and they had 2 cameras in it, or 3 cameras, I think, for the iPhone. And the renders, since that's what we had seen before, all looked almost the same from the back. And then because I've always wondered if there was a deeper reason for Google sharing that, instead of just kind of to be like, you know what it is, here it is, instead of like, hey, this was our design first, and trying to like get ahead of Apple, because then Apple released it and they had those little rings around the cameras and it looked like the stovetop, not at all like the leaks looked. So it seemed kind of like what you're talking about, that they kind of changed halfway through.
Yeah. If you don't mind, I want to mention one point about while we're on the topic of Google's leaking stuff.
Yeah.
If you guys followed or remember the Pixel 2 and the 3 series of the Pixels, the rumor mill, it came to a point where everyone was 100% certain about the Pixel Ultra. Like what we wanted the Pixel 6 to be, which we're going to see now.
Mm-hmm.
The rumors are pointing to that back then. So Google had a very different approach to leaks, and I feel like every year Google had a team and sit down like, okay, guys, so here's how we're going to handle leak this year. 1 year, super lenient. If they leak it, so let's show it off early. But the other week, we're going to keep it super tight in and everything.
Yeah.
And also, if you remember at the Pixel 3 event, they even like had how do I say, like a substitute, like they substituted in a way to like all the leakers who were saying there's going to be an Ultra, there's going to be a this, there's going to be a that, and then they showed off what they had planned. What. They just say that doesn't affect us. But I feel like every year Google kind of changes up their approach to leaks and then sees what sticks. Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember that they kind of like had they had leaks go out, like very, very clear leaks, to the point where I think it was in Vietnam, there was like a full review of the phone like 60 days before it was announced or something ridiculous, like crazy, crazy leaks. And then they went to all these YouTubers that had pictures or dummy models made and like talking about it and everything. And they requested to use those clips in their promotional material. And then the first clip they showed was like, is it really all it seems to be or whatever? And then it was, because we knew exactly what it was. So they kind of stepped on their own foot there, but they kind of like used it as marketing, which was, I didn't really understand it at the time, but looking back, I think I understand it a little bit more.
Same here. I can relate to that. Yep.
Yeah.
Same reaction.
The other thing I wonder actually is with the Pixel 6 versus the other Pixels discussion, Android 12, like they've been, every time he gets up there, Sundar Pichai is like, yeah, we've been working on this for multiple years, like 5-6 years, which would explain why we've been seeing Pixel Watch rumors for so long. And then also why they haven't put a whole lot of care into Pixels 3 to 5. 5 being, I think, was COVID reasons and shutdowns and stuff, but 3 and 4, because that wasn't actually their final product and it didn't matter as much, because the actual I think the true renovation is going to be in Android 12, and then with like the pro level models that are coming out now. So I think it just wasn't time yet. So they just didn't put a lot of effort into it, honestly. That's what it seems like to me.
I was also just looking down Apple's actual website, because they have, I guess, like, I don't know if you can actually go. I think you can possibly. I don't know. You know how you can like go through and order something, and I'm just going through like the configurations that they have. I'm also surprised that to me at least, the Pro and Pro Max colors are, besides like the Sierra Blue is kind of cool, but outside of that, the colors are pretty ugly.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that. I mean, the gold is actually the gold. I do like the gold.
I don't want to say they're ugly, but they're identical to last year. Which Apple, if they're going to keep like a space gray, like space gray every single like almost 6 months, Apple changes the definition of space gray. You guys know what I'm talking about that, yeah. But like I was surprised Apple didn't touch the gold, the silver, or the graphite. Remember how we heard rumors of a matte black, or we expected Apple to change the finish of the gold like they did from the 11 Pro to 12 Pro, but none of that. They left them completely untouched, which was surprising. And even the sky blue, or what do they call it, the aqua?
Sierra blue.
Sierra blue, yeah. Honestly, it just feels like, imagine if they put like two coats of paint on the Pacific blue, then one coat of paint on the 13 Pro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how I feel. It's not even like, I'm really disappointed by colors this year.
See, I still like the gold, and I do like the blue, although I do prefer the dark blue in the 12 Pro Max that I have now. But what I'm really disappointed by is that bronze not showing up.
I'm disappointed there's no matte black. Like I
That
too.
too.
Thought we were gonna get matte black based on everything, and like that is my aesthetic. Is matte black. And so
Yeah.
Yo, so basically, you, me, and MKBHD are the most disappointed about the no matte black.
Yeah.
But about the copper, I think the copper / bronze color we've been hearing for months. I'm pretty sure y'all are the control thing as well to attempt to get out the leakers. That's to give false information about the bronze and the copper color.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting position for Apple to take because usually they're not really proactive about that. They just kind of pretend it doesn't exist, and they're like, people are going to be surprised either way. But that's interesting that they leaked a couple things purposefully to spread some misinformation. I don't know. That's interesting though.
yeah, that's true. That is interesting.
So would you be? What if? Do you remember the iPhone 7 Plus and those colors?
Oh yeah, that was the most colors I've ever had on a phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would
It's
you?
different versions of black, a glossy and a matte.
Looks like a marketing tool to me.
Nice. What is Horizon?
A water bottle. I don't know.
I don't know. It's weird. Interesting.
I guess they're trying to spread a message about mental health.
I guess so. Well, yeah, the 7 Plus with the matte black and the jet black. I loved the jet black one. And then we haven't really seen a product red iPhone, like a pro level iPhone, in a while either, because that was my other favorite.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, so in the iPhone 13, they have pink, blue, what they're calling midnight, which I guess is like a dark black. They have starlight, and they have the red, their like product red thing.
Yeah. Is it still product branded?
What do you say?
Is it still product red branded?
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a small thing for me because I always use a case anyway, so you can't really see the color most of the time, besides like the that back area.
No, but then go back to cases. The Pro Max, since I got it, like just 2 months after I got it last year, I started feeling it caseless, and that phone made me want to go caseless. Right now, my Pro Max is caseless, and it's been caseless for like 9 months or something.
Wow.
So when it's caseless, it's a whole different thing, man. Honestly, I'm getting bored. I used to love having tons of different cases, change them up every day, but now I have one case for my Android phones each, and then nothing for my iPhone, and I'm going to continue that trend. Yeah, I love it.
Interesting. See, I'm usually not into cases either. But for my, the one that I decided that I will drop money on if I want to is a leather case, like a really nice, Nomad leather case I'll use forever.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, I got you. No, you're absolutely right. And Mike and I know he loves leather too.
Yeah.
But when I got my Pro Max, I took either Apple Silicon in red and then Apple Leather in brown.
Mm-hmm.
And just generally Apple leather cases, but in general, leather cases are just so satisfying. I'm with you at 100%.
Yeah. And that's actually the other one is the silicone coral. I got the silicone coral case for my dark blue phone. It looks super cool. But I don't use that a whole lot because stuff sticks to it. But
no, and honestly, you know what else made me want to go caseless? MagSafe. At the time when MagSafe first came out, I immediately started using it and I loved it and I still love it. But at the time when it first came out, there weren't many MagSafe accessories besides just a couple things from Belk. And now there's a lot more. But at that point there wasn't.
yeah.
But actually I'm glad it wasn't because that's what made me go caseless.
Yeah.
So yeah.
See, I actually haven't even tried a MagSafe charger yet. I don't know. It just seems. I would have. Huh?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I would have rather USB-C. So it made me a little upset.
No, yeah, no. Honestly, no. I'm with you on that. I would love USB-C because literally everything in my life is USB-C.
Yeah.
The iPhone. You guys both said that earlier in the conversation. But the thing about MagSafe is, I tell people the iPhone 12 has 3 underrated features: Ceramic Shield, MagSafe, and the LiDAR on the Pros. And MagSafe is really underrated.
LiDAR.
I use it every single day. Yeah, LiDAR. Yeah,
That's what it's called. I couldn't remember what it was called earlier.
Yeah, LiDAR. But yeah, MagSafe so underrated. I love MagSafe.
Yeah, I'll have to try it sometime. Tyler, are you going to try MagSafe with your new phone when you order it at AT&T tomorrow?
Nothing on AT&T. Well, when I'm looking at it though, here's what I'm sort of confused by. So when it says what's in the box for the new iPhone 13, this is the Pro or Pro Max. I think it's kind of the same thing here. It says it comes with a USB-C to Lightning cable. You know, so they don't even give you like a plug-in thing, but they just give you the cable.
Yeah, that's the case for all iPhones now.
So it doesn't even come with a MagSafe charger?
Nope.
No, it never has. No.
Yep, MagSafe charger is $40. The Power Brick is $20. And actually, every iPhone that they are currently still selling, so that's the SE, 10R, 11, 12 series.
10R, no more 10R.
No, oh, no more 10Rs now?
Yeah, SE, 11, 12 non-pros, and then 13.
Oh, I gotcha. I still have a couple come into AT&T once in a while, but I think that was a couple weeks ago. But none of them have a Power Brick anymore. It's all just like they've gone backwards and they've revamped everything, so none of them have a Power Brick.
No, Mike, I know you work at AT&T, but Tyler, you work at AT&T as well, or?
No.
He wishes he worked at AT&T.
I don't work in cell phones, but I might be working possibly with US Cellular in the near future.
Nice. Good. Yeah. You know, I talked to Mike about this a couple times in the past, but I'm a district manager for a company that I don't talk about my company name and stuff because I don't want to my brand is representing them, but my company works with basically most carriers in the U.S., postpaid and prepaid, and we're the ones who put the kiosks in Costco's and Sam's Club and the malls and stuff.
Oh, nice.
The cellular industry is my bread and butter. Yeah. So we're calling carriers. Yeah.
Nice. That's cool.
This is like a rare. I'm a Twitch streamer. This is like a rare tech talk from me. Like I really enjoy technology, and I'm a software engineering student, so I like building and working and programming. But I'm not huge into cell phones. I love iPhones, but I love Apple products. But I'm not into this stuff.
Not like me.
No, just because cell phones are one of those things everyone has one, and now you can say the same thing about watches and headphones and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's one of the biggest things that got me into this because they're so personal devices and they have them everywhere. But for me, I'm in a similar case as you. I graduated UCF last year with a degree in IT, and technology's been my bread and butter my whole life. So right now I'm in the cellular industry, but in general, all technology, not just cell phones. But cell phones are cool. I gotta say.
Yeah.
Speaking of headphones, though, I was seeing I don't check leaks. I'm sure like you guys do, but it seemed almost certain that we were gonna get new AirPods. Am I right or wrong on that?
I felt so dumb because a lot of times my company puts me inside Costco's, right? So Costco's been having the last couple of weeks. They've been putting their AirPods second gen without the charging case for $99. So people have been eating them up. The last 3 days, every time someone even asked me about them, I'm like, Tuesday we're getting new AirPods because it was 100% sure from all the leaks and everything. And I feel so dumb now. You feel more by that one than I did.
Yeah. Well, I use AirPods. I use the AirPod Pros, but I hate them because they don't stay in my ears. They don't. And so I was hoping they were going to announce new AirPods that stay in your ear.
You know what's funny is right now I'm using my daily drivers are AirPods Pro and Galaxy Buds 2. The Galaxy Buds 2 are good, but I really like the Galaxy Buds Pro, which I started using just recently. And I have the problem, my AirPods Pro stay in my ear perfectly, but the Buds Pro and the Buds 2, they don't. They're good headphones, but they don't stay in my ear. So I'm the opposite of you.
I think the AirPod Pros will stay in my ear, except when I'm if I'm working out or moving around, especially if I get on a treadmill and I'm running, they fall out of my ear.
Oh, absolutely. That's why I got the Powerbeats Pro because they're essentially AirPods Pro, but with hooks and longer battery life. So yeah. So
the solution to that.
Powerbeats Pro for just in the gym.
The solution to that is just to not work out.
Oh, man. I'm exactly right there with you, man. That's my solution. I like that solution.
It's too annoying. I need to just stop working out.
I mean, actually, you're not the first person though. My manager is the same. He hated his AirPod Pros, and he actually broke one because it fell out of his ear while he was working out. So he decided to go with the Beats Studio Buds because that's the ones I had too, because you got the same features as the AirPods, but they're less expensive and they work with my Pixel. And those, like if I'm just everyday calling, I like the Pixel Buds. Obviously, they go well with the phone, but then the Beats Studio Buds are super nice because the seal is like almost too much. So I would rather have it too much than feel like it's falling out of my ears. And it also has active noise canceling, just like the AirPod Pros.
Yeah.
And I think they look better. I don't like the stock look from the AirPods.
Well,
and
I don't want to be like too much of a conspiracy theorist, and I'm probably reaching a little too much on this, but you know, you can pretty much do everything with the AirPod Pros. I mean, they really do have good sound. The sound cancellation is really good, but you can pretty much do everything except work out. And it's really convenient that Apple also owns Beats, and they create headphones where you can work out.
Ooh.
So, you know, if you could work out with AirPod Pros perfectly and they don't fall out, you wouldn't really need a need for the Power Beats Pros.
Yeah, you wouldn't need the hook over your ear.
But because they fall out, you run it by the other thing that Apple makes, and so I don't know. It's just
interesting. No, so let's dig into that. So have you ever seen, like, Apple is so detail oriented that when I hear something, because I've heard some things, like little things here and there kind of like that like they clear, like this has to be on purpose. Like you're telling me that they just designed it badly and it falls out of your ears only when you're working out or doing something more intense. Like you would think that Apple, being the detail oriented company that they are, they wouldn't have that issue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can see it.
Whenever I first bought the AirPod Pros, like when they first came out, and I had a bunch of other friends that bought them, and I had friends who straight up just they put them in their ear and fall out, put them in their ear and fall out. And they're like, I'm returning these. So I know a ton of people, and I actually returned my first pair of AirPod Pros. Someone actually bought me some later as a gift, and so I kept them. But I returned them, and I asked the girl from Apple, I'm like, do you guys not know that these fall out of people's ears? And she was like, well, you know, we have had a lot of them be returned for that reason. And I was thinking the same thing as you. Like, they have the smartest, you know, engineering teams, design teams, marketing teams in the world at that place.
Yeah.
And there's just no way that they built those and had everyone try more. Because, I mean, they give things out to their employees ahead of time. And there's no way that they didn't give those out and they had people fall out and say, okay, let's redesign these.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I don't know. It's weird to me.
Yeah. It's such a specific thing, too, because everybody's ears are shaped differently. Like, my right ear works almost perfectly with whatever earbuds I use. Doesn't matter. But my left ear only occasionally works and sometimes I even have to use, like, the larger tip for it. And then the regular AirPods, that's not even worth trying. It would just fall out. Like, it would lay there. But it would not stick at all. So that's why I've never even had those either, because they just didn't work. So I don't know. It's one of those couple things, though. Interesting conspiracy theory. We'll have to follow up with somebody, see if we can find out if that's real. Because that'd be awesome.
Obviously, this is kind of my last point, because I'm probably going to get ready to go. But
yeah, me too.
You know, I love to invest. I'm a large investor, and much of my portfolio is made up of Apple. And their stock is off. It was off about 1.5% today, which obviously it's not like directly correlated with the event. They have a lot going on with like lawsuits and whatnot, but I just find it interesting that they are in the red today on a day that they have an event.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Because usually they're the opposite, especially with as much hype as an Apple event creates. Yeah, I hadn't really checked that out yet. Though.
I don't know if it's just me, but like these events just don't feel like the old event. They don't feel like they're as big of a deal anymore. Maybe that's just me. No,
like the hype is still around it, but I feel the same. Because back when, I mean, think like iPhone from the 3GS to the 4 and then the 5 and then the 6 was a huge jump from the 5. Like it was even up to like the 6 and the 7. They were still innovating a lot. Like two camera lenses on the 7. That was a big deal. But I mean, anymore, like we were saying, there's kind of not a whole lot happening, so it's a little bit underwhelming.
But I feel like there's two factors contributing to the hype is still definitely there, like you guys said, but about the excitement during and after the event and when the product's gone away, you're completely correct. But there's too many factors to blame for that, and it's not really the products themselves, but it's the leakers. You know, like I said, months in advance, we know details. Some that Apple planned to surprise us with, they're already leaked out. That's one factor.
Mhm.
Secondly, is that don't forget that in all technology, not just cell phones or tablets or watches, but all technology, our tech's becoming so good, so reliable, so capable that year over year, there's not much to add. It's just improve on what's before. And even those improvements, they were bigger before, and now they're getting smaller.
Yeah.
Like, what changed between the Galaxy S20 to the 21 to the 22? Nothing.
Yeah.
That's basically the law of diminishing returns. Like that's where we are.
I had this conversation, and Mike working in PM3, I had this conversation all the time too. But
Yeah.
I work with anything I sell, TVs, laptops, whatever, yada yada yada. I have this conversation at least a few dozen times a week. That technology is just getting less and less innovative year over year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we can't like
there's only so much you can do.
Right. Yeah. When you look at technology over like the last 20 years, there's a huge difference. Like you go back and watch like anything from the early 2000s just to now, like it's a massive difference. I remember I was watching something with my girlfriend. I can't remember what it was, but it was from 2003, and she commented that it looked like archaic to her. She was like, "This looks so old." I was like, "It's 2003."
Yeah.
And that's not even 20 years ago. And now it's so. We've innovated so much in because people don't realize the timeline of like humanity and how long it actually is.
Mm-hmm.
And we have innovated so much in this like last like 100 years. It's insane.
Yeah.
People don't realize like there isn't a lot more we can do.
Yeah.
Like we've sort of hit a point where like there's some cool. I think people thought like, oh, because we have more technology, we can innovate more technology. But we've kind of hit a ceiling, or at least a point on the curve where like we just can't continue this like. Going from 480 to 720 to 1080 to 4K, like we've taken big leaps, and things that are in phones that can now do more than like old computers can do.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we've kind of hit a wall, and this is kind of where we're at.
Yeah, that's one reason I'm kind of excited about folding phones starting out, because it's a new form factor, so therefore that opens up more innovation potential, like more ways to use it and that kind of thing. So I'm excited.
Yeah, that is a big part of the future of phones. Now, guys, I don't want to cut you off, but I am heading out. It was great talking to you guys, and great discussion. I'll be available like for tweets and stuff, but I do have to head into work now.
Yeah, no problem.
Guys, okay?
Yes,
Yeah, for sure. And I actually got to head out too. But if you want to do something tonight, Tyler, I'm off for the day, so just let me know.
Okay, sounds good. I'm down. I think. I slacked a little bit on some homework last night, so I'll probably just start it now. But I need to. My cat said, "Who are you talking to?" It's Maki.
Oh, you're still live?
Yeah, I was live this whole time, just chilling.
Oh, nice. I actually didn't know that, because I'm trying to not like have all my mics intertwined with each other. You know.
Oh no, yeah, you're fine. Now they're calling you mockery.
Mockery.
That's not nice.
That is. Tell Lily to shut up.
But yeah, Maddie's bringing me some Chipotle. I'm starving.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Sounds so good. I think she wants to maybe play some video games or something, but I really need to get some homework done. But I think we should be available later.
Yeah, that's fine. Just let me know.
So I'll text you and let you know.
Okay. Cool. I'll see you later.
See you, man.
Bye.
Guys, being in chat. So basically, today I literally woke up and was like, you know what, I'm going to cover the Apple event because, it happens once a year and I get pretty excited for them, even though they're not as great as they used to be. And so they announced a few new things. What do you guys mean you forgot how he sounds? So, I mean, to wrap up, it seems like For me, it was definitely an underwhelming event. It's not one that I'll remember. It's cool that they do like the new things with the like filming because they're not actually live. But yeah, so there's a new Apple Watch, which I really don't know why you'd upgrade to it. There's not a lot of reason to. I have the 5 or the 6. I honestly can't think off the top of my head. Actually, it's right here. Let me see. I have a Series